Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Charlie Shawless, and I work at HOA2 here in Saddlebrook. HOA2 is thrilled to be able to bring this event to you today as a sponsor. Worldwide, over 9 million people today will be scammed. 3.5 million of those 9 million will lose money. Pretty staggering. Scammers no longer target a single group. Instead, they adapt their tactics to exploit different vulnerabilities. To understand how to protect yourself, it is necessary to recognize the most common of these modern evolving scams. To learn more today about those scams and fraud, we are honored to have Detective Tim Larkin with the Pinal County Sheriff's Office Investigating Bureau and General Crimes Division. Detective Larkin just completed 20 years of law enforcement, having been with Pima County and the University of Arizona, and now with Pinal County, focuses on fraud. Please join me.
There. Okay, I want to walk around and I'm going to talk to you about fraud today. My name is Tim Larkin. For 20 years, I've been in Arizona and I've been in law enforcement. This Friday, I can be like you guys. I can retire, finally. I didn't say I was going to do it, I just said I can, so. But I plan on retiring very soon if I can, retiring to another job. So today we're here to talk about fraud. So can we, next slide. Not yet. Bingo. So our presentation goals today, learn how to identify the signs in identity theft and fraud, examine different types of identity theft and fraud. And I have a unique perspective because I'm self-proclaimed the fraud expert with Pinal County, and I work out of the station here. I'm the only one left there. And I've been dealing predominantly last 3 years solidly with fraud. And maybe a few people here have talked to me about what's happened to them. So I'm going to give you, my examples are real life. Every example you see up here happened somewhere in Arizona, and we'll get to those. We're going to identify strategies to protect yourself from identity theft and fraud and learn how to protect your data using safe habits. Today is going to be mostly educational. What we've realized in the fraud business, and we're on the right side of the fraud business, is we need to get you people educated on the signs and in what to look for, and we'll get into that. All right, next. So like Charlene said, there's a victim of identity theft every 2 seconds. This I stole from the AG. She did a presentation here, and when I saw this, I took a picture, and I stole the bottom part, which is Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is IC3, which is an FBI-based database. What they do is they track frauds. We tell everybody who's been a victim or almost a victim to go to IC3 and fill out some documentation there for that database. Arizona had 289 elder fraud cases per 100,000 seniors in 2023, which was the highest rate in the country. And that's 2023. And those numbers, I can tell you, have skyrocketed since then. I'm sure there isn't anybody in here who doesn't know someone who's either been a victim or attempted to be a victim of these fraud people. So there's two, this is the boring part. So there's two identifiers. Identity fraud, that occurs when a person's information is used to access money. And then there's identity theft, which is when personal information is accessed, even if it isn't used for financial gain. And we're not seeing that as much, as they're doing so well in getting the money that they're not. A lot of times, most of what we're seeing is not. They're not taking your money. They're not taking your identity. They're taking your money. So identity theft and identity fraud are terms used to refer to all types of crime which someone wrongfully obtains and uses another person's personal data in some way. Next. So how do identity thieves use your identity? So if they're able to get your information and use that information, this is what they would use it for. So they make transactions, open new accounts, commit fraud, commit cyber crimes, get prescriptions, and receive medical treatment. So some examples of this is they're able to gain access to your computer, and then once they have access to your computer, you go to bed, and then they start doing stuff on your computer, like transferring money. They'll make purchases. They'll do whatever. What's interesting about these players is what they do is they morph. So this gentleman here, if I go after this gentleman's information, and then I get him to help me because he thinks I'm the FBI, I'll ride that. If he doesn't believe that, I'll try something different. I'll go to maybe, there's an emergency and we need to take care of the emergency, and then our family member, and then all of a sudden I got him. So they'll try different things. They're called scripts, and what they have is they have different. It's kind of like a tree. If you go this way, he's gonna buy the FBI story. I'm gonna do that. If it goes this way, he's gonna buy the family emergency, and generally that's how it works. But we're not seeing a lot of this stuff because they're getting so much money from getting onto your computer and getting your banking account information. So next. So what can be used to steal your identity? Your social security number, name, birth date, address, driver's license, passport, marriage, divorce records, insurance cards, all of that stuff. I'll tell you that most of that stuff, if you have a phone, is already out there. I did a search, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen me do one of these before, but I went to Fast People Search. When did I go? Does it have a date on here? No, it was a while ago, and you'd be amazed at what's on there. They have my kids, they have my addresses, they have where I lived, they have where I worked. I mean, pretty much everything. They have about as much as you need to defraud you, or to get that information by going to another entity by pretending to be you. And then some of it's wrong, but a lot of it is correct. Okay, next. So common scams, and we'll show a bunch of these today. Fake emails. You'll get an email saying that your malware is the stuff that protects your computer. It's expired, and then oh my God, you have all of these bugs on your computer. We need to take care of those, and we can help you right now take care of that. And that's where it starts. PayPal overpayment, payback emergency. I did a case right here in town. This woman had been defrauded 3 months prior, and she was trying to buy a lamp, and PayPal, they knew that she was on PayPal, and they reached out to her and popped up something on her computer that said PayPal. Your PayPal's on hold. Wasn't PayPal, but it was them. She kind of knew what to do. She went down here to the bank, walked in, and they looked at her screen, and they said that she had worked with them a minute, so they said, oh my goodness, there's 70,000 in your account and there shouldn't be, and all that. What they do is they move a decimal point, and then what they're actually doing is they're changing the face of the bank. So they go they go into your bank, and then they're able to change the number. And what they do is they make a fake page that looks exactly like the page that you would look at if you went to the bank. Long story short, she knew it. She came to the bank, and then it was kind of fun because they called me, and I got to go to her house, and we talked to the guy for about a half a day. And then the next morning, and then I was at her house, and he was asking us to do a bunch of stuff, and I was taking pictures and videos and documenting it all. And then at the end, at that one point, he goes, all right, I need you to go onto your bank account. And then I was sitting there going, nah, we can't do that because that would be not good for my job. So then I introduced myself, and then it was interesting because I thought he would scream and yell and swear at me, but he didn't. He was very very cordial and said, you don't know nothing. And I said, I know a little bit. I don't know as much as you. And then the computer started moving, and I said, can you unplug this quick, unplug it. So, but she was getting rid of that computer anyway, and there's some images on here for that. Fake text messages, tolls, that one's kind of calmed down. You have unclaimed money, packages on hold. Another one is jury duty. You missed jury duty. And then you say, well, I didn't get the notification. It's no excuse. You missed it. Now, we can take care of that. And they've even gotten people to go buy gift cards because they missed jury duty, which right now you'd think is crazy, but it's amazing what they can make people do. So next. Yeah, I don't need that actually. So here's one. This is one I got just the other day. I don't know if the date's on it, but this is what they've gotten away from this, but this is still happening. They try everything, and if it's too far and you can't read it, what they're saying, and that's my email, my personal email, and they sent me this. Says we know your true worth. I will make you an offer that you. It's supposed to be cannot, but can refuse. That's a big red flag. They're not too good in English, so English is a difficult language, and writing it is even harder. So they have all my personal information, my date of birth, my home address. You can see it here. My social security number, driver's license, all your email accounts. They have everything. And he says, I've compiled an entire package. I'll send this package to the dark market where criminals will buy it. And I'm like, well, they already have it, so I don't need to. So then he says, if you can buy it for me for a small fee of $600. And then there's you send it to that, transfer to that number and all that stuff. So obviously I didn't, but this is just an example of what you'll see and what you'll find. And it's, and we've gotten calls all the time. We get calls like this, and it's during a time where what they're asking for is Bitcoin. You can't really see it, but you're alone. You're having a bad day. You didn't sleep. Whatever it might be, you get this and you panic. And what I call it is they put you in the frenzy. Now you're in the frenzy. Now you're panicking. What do I do? This person is gonna send all my information out there. What am I gonna do? And then you get into it. You don't think to call people. You don't think to do. You just respond to it and you send it out, and then you go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You have that moment of clarity. So next. So here's some more examples. I got this. This is all from my phone. This is a text. My digital bank account has been locked. Please call. And then you call, and then they'll take you wherever you want to go. They'll try anything at that point. I don't have an AFCU digital banking account, but maybe someone opened it in my name. I better call, and then from there, it goes downhill. This one was going out a long time, not a long time. This one was going out more recently. The Postal Service, we have a package, but we need a little more information to get it there. We don't know where Saddlebrook is, so we need your help. And that's part of the, maybe someone sent me something. Maybe you're expecting a package. And then you click on the link, and then, boom, you're talking to someone who's going to try to take your money. Okay, next one. This one was a funny one. This one was AZDOT, which is Arizona Department of Transportation. And this went out, the last presentation I did, everyone was talking about this one. So this one is, you failed to pay tolls here in Arizona, but there's no toll roads in Arizona. So that was a simple, but people paid it. People did because they didn't know. Like I said, they'll try anything. And then after the last presentation, one of the women I was working with said, I got the same thing, only mine was from Wisconsin because she still had a Wisconsin number. So they look at your number and they, like the phone number means, today the phone number doesn't mean much. They can mask anything. There's apps that they can use it could say U.S. Postal Service. It could say ADOT and we're calling you. It can say Pinal County Sheriff's Department, Pima County Sheriff's Department. Okay, next. This is another part of it. So I had a pickup truck. And I like to show this one because it's not all the same. It's whatever way, shape, and form they can try to get you, they will. So I put a car for sale on Craigslist in Tucson. And then the gentleman said, as you can see, I was very honest. It has a leak, oil leak, and all that. I want $6,000 for it. I already dropped it from 75. He says, sounds good. And then this is he says, sounds good. Thanks for the info, but I won't be able to be available physically due to my busy work schedule, but think we can complete this transaction with trust. Yeah, no, we cannot. Are you okay to receive payment via cashier's certified check? No, I don't want a fake check, and I will arrange for it to be picked up when the check clears. The other one I've seen on this is I'm in the military, and I'm due to come back to Tucson, and I really need a car. Now you're, I'd like to sell it to that guy because he's serving our country and he's looking for a nice truck. So my response, of course, was as a fraud investigator with the PCSO, I would lose my job if I said yes, thank you. And that was the end of him. He didn't text again after that. But we've had another case. We had a case here where a couple found a camper, a travel camper, and it was a great deal, and we should jump on this, and they did, and they had the money ready to go, and the trucking company that the fraud person said we're going to send it to you, but we got to go through this trucking company. We looked it up. The trucking company was legit. Everything seemed legit. And they sent, I want to say in the neighborhood of $15,000 for this camper that didn't exist. And then they had that moment of clarity. And what's interesting about that one, it was the husband and the wife. Both of them were 100%. Neither one of them was like, this is fishy. They got excited about this great deal they were going to get. And the people they talked to were great. They were wonderful. They sounded super sincere. Well, this is going to be wonderful. Turns out that they stole the ad from someone else and they were just stealing their money. The bank was able to, I think, get back $12,500 of their money because they stopped the transfer. Some of it had gone through. So sometimes you get lucky and they did that day. They lost a little bit of money, but not as much as they thought. Okay, next. Here's another one, the IRS. They'll use anybody. You are eligible to receive $1,400 in economy impact payment. So what they're talking about is when during COVID, the government was giving money out. They're still trying to use that to get people to click, and so you click on that. See it here. This is key. So the HTTP, the website, www.irs.gov, tax. Whatever heck that word is, origi.com. It's not the government. It's not the IRS. The IRS is going to be probably the irsgov.gov, and or something like that. Just little things like that, little hints that they leave us that it's not legit. And then, unfortunately for me, I see it very easily. Most people don't. We look for misspellings. We look for things like that where it doesn't look like it. You look like where it came from. I don't even know what it is up there, but a bunch of letters is all it is. So that doesn't look legit to me, so just move on. Next. So these are examples of investigations that I was a part of. So this is a report of a victim. She was scammed on her computer. Her malware was out of date. She needs to either update it or not. They gained access to her computer, bypassed her. This one was interesting because usually they'll get your money. They'll start with a little bit and take more. They did not. They went right to her Vanguard retirement account and transferred $250,000. So she lives here. She walked into my office in Saddlebrook and with $250,000 gone. Needless to say, she was extremely upset. My first question, when did this happen? Because I had just gotten the information that we might be able to reverse it. It happened this morning. So next. She got all of her money back. She immediately went to the bank, and the bank transferred her money back because it had happened that day. So that's why what they want to do is they want to keep you in the frenzy. Don't talk to friends. Don't talk to family. We need to solve this together. They say that all the time on the videos. What did she do correctly? She reported it immediately. Got all of her money back because she did that. She stayed calm. Well, after she was told to go to the bank. And then she took action to reverse the transfer, which is simply she went to I think it was Chase Bank. She went to the bank and they transferred it back. And this is the key. She put her feelings of embarrassment on hold. She chose to be a warrior and not be a victim. She goes, I don't care who knows. How do I get this back? And she came right down to the station and went to the bank, and it was a victory for her and for us. What she did to me is she then left and went to California to her son's or grandson's graduation, and I didn't hear from her for like 2 weeks. And then she finally reached out and said, oh, by the way, I got all my money back. And I'm like, 2 weeks? Last I saw her, she was going out the door, going to the bank to try to get it back, but I was very thankful that she did call me and did give me that great news. So next, common scams. And then again, but like I said, the emails and the text, this is what you look for. Misspelled words, generic greetings, unprofessional language. The login and email do not match the institution. We've already seen that up here. And then noticeable incorrect language. Talking about past tense when it should be in present tense, that kind of thing. Misspellings are key. Some of them are very obvious, and you'll see them if you look at your phones and such. So next. So this is how the newest and common scams, and what they're doing is before I was a cop, I was a salesman, and I'm sure there's some salespeople here. And what we do as salespeople, if you're trying to find business, you get a bunch of people like this, and then you give every single person in here the same message. I have a product, and it's great. And half of you are like, yeah, no. And then the other half are maybes. And then I whittle it down. So say there's 50 people in here. If I can sell 5 of my product to you, that's a huge percentage, 10%. And so that's what they're doing, is they're just sending out, now that the internet and now that there's email and text and the information is out there, they're just constantly sending stuff out, constantly waiting for you to get into that moment where you're like, oh, shoot, I have jury duty. I didn't know about it. Oh, I have a toll to pay. Oh, I have a warrant. That's another one. I'll let you know that we, as the Pinal County Sheriff's Department, I've worked for Pima County as well, they're not going to call you and tell you you have a warrant. It's going to happen on a traffic stop. It's like as a young cop, when you find someone with a warrant on a traffic, it's like a gift, you know? It's like, oh, nice. But we're not going to come and tell you and you can pay it off. You have to go to court and that type of thing. So this is an example of the cloud. So the cloud's where all your information from your computer is stored in the cloud. And now they're talking on the media, and you'll hear it, that they're worried that the people are going to go in and get it, which probably will eventually happen. I don't know. But it's expired, and you see how alarming it is. Your payment method has expired. Your stuff is not being saved. You're going to lose all the pictures of your grandkids and all that. It's all going to go away. Again, motivating you to click, click, click. Do not click. That if you don't take anything from here, don't click on anything. Not a link, not a box. So if you click on the update my payment details there, you're clicking a box, and it's not instantaneous. They're not getting into your computer there, but they're getting close. So next. So a common phone scam. Hello, Miss Public. I'm calling to tell you that you have missed. We already did this one. Jury duty. I didn't get anything in the mail. And then this is what they'll use. Well, that is no excuse. You're currently in violation of ARS 21-223, failure of jury to attend. If you look that up, it's legit. They've looked it up. That's why they use it. There'll be a warrant for your arrest issued to the courts. How do I take care of this? And I put these 3 things at the bottom because people have done this. They've gone and got gift cards. Can I pay? Can I get down and pay it? It would be easier if you just get gift cards. Credit card, they'll do that, and then even Bitcoin, which is crazy. But it's the frenzy. They got you in a weak moment, and you start thinking, oh, this is what's happening. I better get this taken care of, or they're going to come to my house and take me away. Okay, next. So this again is we noticed your malware is expired, and this is where the problem, the main problem is. There's a program called AnyDesk, and AnyDesk is a wonderful program for IT people and for others, but for the scammers, they love it. And what it is. And I have a picture of it on a computer too. And what AnyDesk is, it allows them to get into your computer. It gives them, and then if your computer's not working, and you can't get, and then you call tech, and then all of a sudden your mouse is moving all over the place. They've taken over your computer with AnyDesk, and what they do is they say, well, I've got something, let me help you with this. They're always trying to help you and always trying to make it easier for them to take your money. And what they do is, traditionally what they do is the AnyDesk thing will come up and there'll be a number across it, and they just say, just click on that. And you click on that, and then they go, almost 90% of the times, it's not working. let me just hold on a second. It's not where I don't understand what's going on. It's not working. But it works. It works instantly. But when they do that, they're downloading your computer, and they're stalling for time at that point. And what they're saying is, it doesn't seem to be working, and they'll take it down real quick and put something else up. And then during that time, they'll be downloading everything from your computer and try to get all the information off of it. But mostly they're interested in your banking information. And their goal is to get you to go on to your bank, because then they can go into because then they're in it, because your computers are mirrored, and now they can go into your bank and take the money that they want to. So what they do is they mask the malware page or the bank page and talk to you, and then once they're on there, they talk. Like I said, they open your bank account page, and then they tell you there's a problem. And what they're doing is they're taking a picture of that bank page, Wells Fargo, Chase, BMO, any of them, and then they go to the side, and if you right-click on the side, I don't know what it's called, but the computer jargon comes up on the side. They can see what your balance is, and they go over and they look for that number, and they simply change it. And then they use that then they put that on the screen. And then that's when we go to the next level, which is, oh my God, you have $90,000 in there. It was only supposed to be $900. What did you do? And then you go, I don't know what I did. What did I do? I don't know what I did. And then they say, well, this is crazy. We need to fix this. How do we fix this? And then all of a sudden, they're going to help you fix it. And generally that is, like I said, gift cards, Bitcoin, even going to the bank and taking the money out and send it to them. So next one. This is the one I talked about earlier. They contact you and advise you PayPal account has been put on hold. This is followed by a scammer asking you to input and this is again I'm reiterating, but this is what they do. You put 700 in, it's 70,000. Oh my God, my family. I'm going to lose my kids. This is nuts. You need to help me. We can't have this. And then I'm going to help you. I'll do whatever it is to help you. And then that's when they get in and they tell you, well, you can take out the difference and then do whatever with it. And we've had people, even here in Saddlebrook, we've had people put money in an envelope and people come to the front door and take it. And not to say that they're bad people, because what they're doing is they're calling an Uber. And Ubers have a program where they can pick up mail and they can pick up envelopes and things like that. It's a document thing that they do. So they'll come to your front door, and what they'll say is put it out front or hand it to this man. And they know his name because the Ubers have names. And then they take it to a drop location. So generally what we're seeing is not a lot of people are, they're called mules, money mules, and they're here. They're around. But not a lot of them, they're the second. They want a separation. They're very good at what they do. So if they come to your house, then we can grab them. So that doesn't happen usually. We're going to grab an Uber driver who knows nothing about what's going on. But next. So here, this is what I was talking about here. This is from the case that I was talking about. So this is as simple as it looks. So this is PayPal, but this AnyDesk uses a predefined password. So that's the address of that woman's computer. And all she has to hit is that invite button, and then they're in. Then they have control of her computer. And they will get rid of that in a heartbeat. That'll be gone because you'll start reading it and like, wait a minute, what does this do? Or Google it, and it's like, yeah, AnyDesk allows that. And this is how they got in to her computer. Or this is how they initiated it here. Here's your invoice, unrecognized transaction, please call customer care. And what's scary about this one is she had got frauded 3 months earlier, and they had malware, or they had a computer program on her computer, I'm convinced of it, that as soon as she tried to buy something online, an alarm went off in their office, and they went right up and said, what does she want? They were watching what she was doing, and as soon as she tried to use PayPal, they quickly said, oh, get her before she hits the purchase, and then your PayPal's not working. We'll help you get through it. Okay, next. So common scams. If you do not use an online banking, scammers will ask you to get gift cards, Bitcoin Cash, and gold bars. And you laugh because gold bars, right? That's crazy. Well, what did I say in the beginning? All of these examples are real and true. And we had a woman in Arizona, and she went down to Tucson on 2 separate occasions and bought gold bars from a jewelry store and then shipped them out. And then she, unfortunately for her, I think she lost over 200,000. And then when they were done with the gold bars, she's a fish on the line, and they kept working her. She went and got cash, her last 10,000, put it in a package and sent it to a UPS store in Long Beach, California. And that's where I came in, and I called the Long Beach, California store and talked to the owner, and they don't have cameras. And then he said, let me look into the name that's on the box, which we kind of both knew was a fraudulent name. But he said, if they have an account or something like that, send me a subpoena. So I sent a subpoena, and then I called him back, and he said his IT guy looked into it, and they couldn't find anything. So unfortunately, that was, we don't have victories all the time, but that was particularly sad because that was all her money. And when you're doing the physical stuff, they didn't get her online. They just motivated her to go buy stuff and get money and send them money. And again, that's what they do. But yeah, that's why gold bars is up there. We've had a ton of cash and a ton of Bitcoin and gift cards. I'm happy to say that the convenience store here in town, they do not do gift cards. And they're very aware of when people do gift card purchases. But the scammers have Google Earth and Google Map, and they know where you are when you say, I'm in Saddlebrook and I'm at the convenience store. And they say, hey, if you go out to Oracle Road and take a left, there's a store, there's a Walgreens, there's a Bash's, there's a Circle K, they'll guide you. And then they'll say, stay on the phone with me, and we'll do it together. We'll solve this together, because they're going to help you out of your money. So, next. This is another one we see. It's a family friend emergency fraud. A grandkid, a relative is calling because of arrest, and she cannot contact the parents because they're going to get in trouble, and they're going to call Grammy and Grandpa. And the example is. This is an example that I'll give you that I worked, but the example is I got arrested and I need bail money. Can you send it? And then again, we've seen people go get gift cards for this, and they do. But generally, they're going to take cash and the payment, and then what they'll do is they'll keep working it. They'll call you back, and the next day, and they're pretty smart about it. This example was a woman here in Saddlebrook, and she had been estranged from her son who doesn't drink, but he was in an accident, drunk, and he hit a pregnant woman, and they won't release him because she was pregnant. And some of you laughed, others didn't, but it doesn't matter who is the victim. The crime is the crime. So that's just a good attempt at working at your, pulling at your heartstrings. Oh, that's terrible. She got hurt. Can you send money? And in this case, I think it was $4,000. They said, put it in an envelope. God, I forget his name. Tim's going to come pick it up. And so she went out and she handed the money to him, and then she said, I need your license. And she took his license and took a picture of it and took a picture of his license plate and took a picture of everything. She was covering herself. She was doing a good job. Unfortunately, that was the Uber driver. And then he went to, I think, Eloy and met a woman in the parking lot and handed the envelope over. So she's who we wanted. She's the mule. But she, of course, was in a parking lot of a restaurant with no cameras, no surveillance, nothing like that. So it was very difficult. That's where our expertise ends, because we can't help you from then. Okay, next. There's one right now on the board that we're working up in Salmonwell. Lottery frauds are classic. And number one rule, no legitimate lottery requires you to prepay taxes. And that's how they get you to, I'm going to get $4 million if I just pay $30,000. The other one is you've won the lottery in another country. It's against the law to play the lottery outside of the United States. The one we're working right now, one of the deputies just called me. It's a publisher's clearinghouse. Again, they do not require prepayment of taxes. You can't win if you don't play. The publisher's clearinghouse one that we're working right now, from what I understand, it's very preliminary, but he won 1.2 mil. They sent him a check. He took the check to the bank, cashed it, and I'm guessing that he sent them 10 grand or something like that via, however, I'll find out later. But the bank is like, well, we thought it was a good check. And a lot of the banks and a lot of the bank managers we've been working with are getting wise to this, but they sneak through. A lot of times there's some checks and balances at the banks that are helpful. But in this case, who's going to take the hit? He put the check in thinking it was legit. And I don't know. I'm sure they didn't give him $1.2 million, but he took out 10 grand or 20 grand and then sent it to them. He doesn't have the 10 grand, maybe, I don't know. But he calls us because that's what the bank says. We need to talk to you. We need to get a police report that gives it some validity, and then they have their own researchers and that look into it. So. But it's happening even today. That was on the board today, right up here and just north of here in Salmonwell. Okay, next. This is what you've all been waiting for here. What can we do? What can we do to stop it? Monitor your accounts, credit reports, and credit cards. A lot of people don't do that. It's a good practice to do it. My wife has dementia, and she's still doing the finances. So we went in to the bank and asked them, what can I do or what can we do to protect us from something? Because she's super gullible, but we don't let her use the phone and things like that. So we're giving her something to do is what we're trying to do at this point. So if $100 comes out of my account, I get an email. My dad, same thing. He gets a text. So whenever you're out to dinner with him and he pays the bill, ba-dink, and he's like, oh, that's what I just ate. And these are all, the banks all have these, and they're safety measures, because when you find out then, you react to it then. Monitor your financial statements. And then also practice online safety. And that just goes back to don't click it. The other thing to be careful of, and then secure important documents. That's not that important in that you all have a place you put them in your houses, and you guys travel. A lot of you are snowbirds. You travel, you have your little box of them with you. That's fine. They're not really looking for that stuff much anymore because it's, like I said, a lot of that's online. So like a lot of times, I think almost every single burglary I've done, whether it be here or in, somewhere in Arizona, someone will ask me, what about my information? And we tell them the same thing. Keep an eye on your finances, keep an eye on everything. But they wanted the jewelry. That's what they want, because they can pawn it. It's a quick turnaround. They get more money from that than trying to sell your information, because like I said, most of the information's out there. Again, practicing online safety. Banks aren't going to reach out to you. they're going to call you or text you, but it's going to be the same numbers and the same method that they've done in the past. They're not going to pop up on your screen. If they do, that's a red flag. Again, if something comes up on your screen, don't click on it, don't call the number, research it. And then also be careful of that, because if you Google malware, if you Google PayPal, generally the top 3 numbers on Google that say sponsor, those are the scammers, and they pay for those to be there. Okay, next. What not to do. Again, click. Don't click on anything. If the bank tells you to click it, if the guy on the phone tells you to click it, again, opening suspicious attachment. And I've been a cop for 20 years, so the bottom one is a given for me, but I don't trust anybody on the phone. I don't. Whatever they're asking me, I just don't. It's not rude to say, I don't believe you. I don't believe you're, with all this fraud going on, I don't believe you. I'm going to hang up now. And that's not, you're not swearing and slamming the phone. You're being very cordial, and you're saying, I don't like this. I don't believe it. Click. And that, they don't like that. That's not good for them. Okay, next. So now you're in the frenzy. You're trying to help your son or daughter's kid, and they're on your computer, and they're all of a sudden you have that moment of clarity. This isn't right. Turn off your computer, call your bank, report it to me, law enforcement, and then report it. And we'll give you this. Report it to the FBI. And the reason why we report it to the FBI is because the FBI and the Secret Service are all looking for patterns. They're going to take cases that if we see tons of money going out on these scams, they're going to initiate an investigation. Whereas most of the stuff is going to be handled by us if it's onesie twosies type of thing. But if we have a scam that's going that continues, then the FBI and the Secret Service will get involved in it, and they have a lot more resources than we do for this stuff too. Okay, next. So here's some resources. Law enforcement. Don't be afraid to call 911. We have plenty of people to answer the phone. If you think that you're in the middle of getting frauded, call 911 and ask to talk to someone. It's what we do. So many people say, well, it didn't seem like an emergency. Call. If you're, when I was at the U of A, the kids, it was amazing to me, but the kids would walk into the dorm and there'd be a guy cutting a lock and stealing a bike. And they would look, and then they would go, ooh, that's not right. I better talk to my friends. So then they would talk to their friends, and then they'd all get together and go, we should talk to the RA, the registered assistant. And then they would go talk to the RA. And then the RA would go, that's not right. We better call the CD. So then they call the community director, and he would say, did anybody call 911? No. So then they say, yeah, and then they would actually report it, there's a bike being stolen right now in front of the dorm. And we would go fly into these calls because we're going to get a guy stealing bikes. And then we'd get there, and the kid would come down and would meet him. When did this happen? Like, probably about half hour, 45 ago. And then we'd call on the radio and say, everyone can slow down. Because if they gave you a half hour in Tucson on a bike, you could get a long way. The Better Business Bureau, Federal Trade Commission, National Center for Elder Abuse, and the National Elder Fraud Hotline. So all of those are very helpful. But first things first is you need to turn that computer off and call us. And what happens, I think, a lot is people think, let's be honest, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to fall for these. And you don't want to walk around at the club and go, guess what? I lost 30 grand, And what happens is people wait and they think about it, and then they go, well, I should report it. And like we found out recently, that information can be very helpful. If we get it, the quicker we get it, the better we're going to be. Okay, next. And that's all I have. I want to touch on a couple of things though before I go. There were some issues or some questions when we started this program on AI and how that's going to affect this. So I've done some research on that, and they're doing so well with how they're working it. But today, actually, I was on the computer and saw that what they're doing now is they're masking Elon Musk and I can't think of the other guy's name, but they're masking these people and doing fake videos. And they're saying, I've got this great opportunity. You guys want to make a ton of money quick? Here, Bitcoin. And then that's how they're doing it. So it looks like a video of someone, I don't know if you trust Elon Musk or not. I'm not going to get political. But it could be my boss. It could be Sheriff Tebow. And he's saying, well, a bunch of people have warrants and we're reaching out to you via this email or via this video. Which in nowadays is not that far-fetched because all of the police departments are on videos all the time. But that's what they're doing. They're masking people that you would consider to be trustworthy. And then mimicking the voices is very easy. So they're using that as well. And so we talked about your grandkid calls you. They could do a FaceTime call and it will look just like that person. They'll make them look beat up, and then it just adds some realism to it. So it's difficult. So what we're trying to do is get in front of it and try to educate as many people as we can. One of the other examples that we use was, and I know the bank BMO was doing this. Gentleman came in and he took out $40,000. And the ladies, the tellers were like, you don't need to do this. Well, let's talk about this. And he, give me my money. I want my money. And then they brought the bank manager out, and he couldn't stop them. And he's like, oh, we know it's a fraud, but there's nothing we can do. And the bank's hands are tied. If you demand your money, they're going to give it to you. So this gentleman goes home, and he's angry about what happened at the bank. He's like, why won't they give me the money? He gets out of his car. Well, this happened here. His neighbor looks over and sees he's upset. And they're friends, so he comes over and he goes, hey, what's going on? And he goes, trying to get $40,000 out, and the people at the bank, I mean, you wouldn't believe it. And then he goes, why were you getting $40,000 out? And he goes, because of this, that, and the other thing. And his friend goes, yeah, that's a fraud. And he went, and at that moment, as I say, the bubble was broken. And he went, oh. And he went back to the bank, BMO, walked in and put the money back and said, I'm so sorry. But that's part of the frenzy. We got to do it now. It's got to happen now. Let me help you get to that point. Let me help you get this. Let me fix your problem. So that's just another example. We have mics set up, so if anybody has any questions, I would love to get some questions and answer anything that you might have, if I can. No running, sir.
Mike Oberski here. I want to first thank Darren Shaw and our marketing department for doing this presentation. I too got scammed a couple months ago, and I asked Darren and the marketing to go ahead and do this, and they did. It started on our computer. It came up and it showed software update. Please do not turn off your computer, parentheses 9%. So we did shut it off. The next day we'd turn it on, nothing happened. About 30 minutes later it would come up again, and then you could see the little cursor moving around on the screen. So it happened the third time. We finally called our computer guy, and then we went to one of our credit union institutions where we have a little bit of money in there, and found out they stole $28,000 out of that account. So we did get our computer updated with new software, new malware. I did file a police report with Officer White, I think it was, Detective White.
Yeah, Matt White.
Matt White, yeah, did with him. And we did get the money back through through, I guess, the insurance. The bank has FDIC, and the credit union has National Credit Union Administration, NCUA, $250,000. I have some questions along that line myself, is if you have a financial institution, is that 250 there, or when they break it up into each, where they then invest the money, is that 250 per that, or only with your financial institution total? Because a lot of people say, well, no, I don't have more than 250,000 in any one financial institution. But my financial advisor said, well, yeah, but if we put some money over here and some money there and some money there, none of those exceed 250. So I don't know the answer to that, quite frankly. Something I want to get a better answer to. Our computer guy, he told me that when you open up, if you type online, let's say, I'll just make this up, a best SUV to buy, and you get all these hits. Well, you got to be very careful about opening them up. Now, I don't really know the trick to how do you look at it and says, wow, don't want to open that one up. That's a fraud. You know, I don't know all those tricks yet, but he went through them with me, and it gets a little complicated about what you want to open and not open when you on the internet. So that's an interesting thing.
That goes to the click it. And generally, what we've seen on those is, and I look at cars all the time, is you'll see a car here, and then I'm from New England, and you see an obvious New England background. Those are usually frauds, and and probably clicking on those is probably not a good idea.
Yeah. I know that our main financial institution, I'm a little afraid to actually go online with them, even though I've been on there with our fraud department several times. You know, we've put a few things in place, like a special word that's not even written anywhere. So they'll ask me every time, what's that special word? So, but I'm still a little afraid to get online with them because somebody's still watching me. So that's kind of a problem. But one of the other things we did is we stopped online banking, for whatever exactly that means. So even they told me, my financial institution said, even you, Mike, would have trouble getting your own money out right now. So I'm doing everything I can because it's pretty scary when it happens.
Yeah, it is. And in my opinion, you didn't really click. Someone clicked on something on that computer, but it wasn't like a call or one of these. But that's kind of what I was talking about, when they'll try anything, and if that works, they'll go with it, and then and they'll work it till it doesn't work, and then when we figure it out, they move to something else. So that's why we try to do these. And try to get out and educate people on what's going on, because there'll be a new one next week and a new one after that. They kind of go the warrant one and the jury duty one. A lot of these cycle, but I've never heard of that where you didn't, they didn't address you or you didn't click. You clicked on something you don't know you clicked on.
Right, most likely that's probably true.
Yeah. So I don't know what that might be.
And the credit union, I will not mention their name, but they never. What the frauder did is he went in and we were allowed to take, according to the terms of the credit union, you could take out $3,000 a day. Well, they took out $2,980, $2,700 until they got to almost $28,000. But the credit union never sent us a message that says, did you had a transaction today? If that's not true, let us know. We never got any of that. Now, I have another institution, every time money moves or it's even deposited, I get a message. Did you deposit that? Yes, I did. So it's something to look forward to, to make sure.
And that's, like I said, that's what I do with my banking is I get a notification anytime something moves.
Yep.
And if your bank offers it, I would suggest it. Because what they'll do too is they'll send you because we've, as an industry and as anti-fraud people, because they've put that in now they'll send you that, and then you go, oh, I didn't put that in, click here, and it's like, God, I just figured this out, and now and that's how they work. They're not, they're not stupid. They know what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
and they'll try to get you 3 days till Sunday. It's just crazy how it works.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. I think we all get the unpaid toll and the jury duty all the time. I often get this delivery problem with they needed more information and stuff. It always seems to happen when I'm waiting for something from Amazon or some other place to be shipped to me. It's a real coincidence. Do they have some input, or have they gotten into FedEx or UPS to know that a package is coming to me? And that's why I'm getting this scam email.
They may, but they also, like, I look at my phone, my personal phone I've had forever, and I've had the same number forever. And if I go into my junk, it's a cycle. They're just hitting you, and what you're not noticing them when they're coming, when you're not waiting for a package. But when you're waiting for a package, you go, oh, wait, I am waiting for a package. And so that's part of the saturation of the market. They saturate the emails with just attempt after attempt after attempt.
And I don't think we all check our spam very often, but there's a lot of stuff in there that's kind of scary.
Yeah, most of them are definitely frauds.
Yeah. My other question, you mentioned if you Google something and the top 3 or so are sponsored, and they're probably scammers. Do you as law enforcement ever track these down, suspecting there might be scams, and try to head them off at the pass?
That's too big for us. That's something we would pass on to the FBI, because if it's international, which is it would be if it's Google, then it would be something the FBI or the Secret Service would look into. But not all of them are. But for a while they were doing it. If they're doing a big contract on malware, which they are now, those numbers are going to go to them most likely. But if you Google down, you'll find the better numbers. But now that I say that, they're going to switch it, and it's.
Well, sometimes.
But it's all about. I don't know. It's just you have to just be careful at everything. Like I said.
Yeah, I've just scrolled down and it'll say official site.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, is that really the official site?
But what to look at too is malware is MALWARE or whatever it is. It'll be www.malware.something. And some of these, if you look at them, they're not even close or slightly different, or have a little something in there that separates it from the company.
And I think one tip that I think we all should be aware of, if you get an email and you're not sure, if you take your cursor, don't click, but take your cursor and put it over the sender's information, it'll actually pop up a screen that says who it really is. So if they've masked who they really are, if you put your cursor over it, it tells you who they really are. And if it says like .ru, that might be Russia. It'll be something completely different than your bank. So
yeah, that's correct. And you've touched on something, or reminded me of something. The last time we did one of these, someone said, well, what I do is hang up and then I call them back. And if they call back, I know they're real. Or if I hang up and then I call them and they answer, I know it's real. What they're using now they're called burner phones. So they can converse with you back and forth all day, hour on hour, all day long. So the woman who was buying the lamp I talked about very early in my presentation, that was a victory for us because we kept that scammer on the phone all afternoon and then half of the morning that next day. And during that time, he was not scamming anybody. And that's kind of the goal. We want to waste their time so they can't go to the next scammer. Ma'am?
Yes, I have a fairly new computer, about a month old, and I was in my email, and I go and delete anything I'm not interested in opening, and I think I might have actually deleted an ad. I'm not sure at the end. All of a sudden, I get this. The bells go off, and it says Microsoft's calling. You have some real problem. You got to call this number. And I said, I know it's not real, but how do I get rid of this, and how did it happen? So they say, do not turn off the computer. So I just closed down the browser. I went into Task Manager and closed it down that way. How do these things happen? And do I have a real problem? I have Norton on the machine. I would think that would catch anything. Do I have an infected computer now?
I would have it checked out if I were you, because if it popped up like that, that means, and it's a fairly new computer, that means they most likely have some. Like I said earlier, they put stuff on the computer that lets them know when you're on it. It's kind of like they know as a salesperson, they know you're in your office and they know they can call you, and that's what they're doing. So they're probably monitoring what you're doing. And the lady with the lamp, 3 months she didn't use her computer. The minute she got it to buy that lamp at PayPal, boom, they came right back at her. But she had already been frauded out of some money and was aware of it, and so she immediately knew and went down to the bank, and we went from there.
Well, one more thing I want to say. I was trying to sanitize my old machine to get rid of it. I think there's something wrong with the Wi-Fi antenna, so I'll probably just get rid of it. But as I'm going in cleaning things up, I'd used 3 different browsers over the period of time I owned it, and I went in, and each one of the browsers had a password file where it clearly showed what the password was that I had typed in. Oh, wow. So I had to go down and delete every single one. And I'll have to tell you, I know a fair amount about computers. I was shocked when I found those passwords.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that. But there's computer people here that we've done some programs with them, and they're very helpful in some of that stuff to answer those questions.
Thank you for being here. Just a question about, I'm trying to convert everything to a password program and use biometrics, so either finger or eye. Does that, or facial recognition, I guess, or the fingerprint, does that help decrease the situation if someone should get access to my computer, and is the only way to get access to my computer through screen sharing, or is there any other way?
Well, once you get through that initial, then you're on. And then if you click on something when you're on, you're right where you were, right where we were before. But if someone was trying to get into your computer initially, then they would have a hard time. So I mean, anything you can do is I would recommend. But if you're on there and then something pops up and you click on it, then you're
Right.
You know, the door's open, they can come in.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way to look at it. If the door's open, they can come in.
Okay.
But if you know that's good to keep everything encrypted and protected. It's the that would be something I would suggest.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? No, you're good. A phone is a. She asked what about our phones? I talked a lot about computers. Nowadays, phones are computers. People bank on their phones. People have lost millions on their phones. They've hacked into phones all the time. So the same way, if you're looking at your emails on your phone, you click on it, they're going to take your phone, and then they'll download your phone and do the same thing that they would do with a computer. It's just a small computer is all you have. So if you're doing banking on your phone, it's the same thing. I don't trust phones. I did some cyber training, and what they take from your phone is, if you walk into Walmart, they take everything off your phone. They download it, and then they take that information and they sell it. If you walk into most most retail places, they're downloading your phone and finding out what you're gonna buy, and they're listening to you and all. It's kind of creepy, but. It could help. I don't know. She asked about RFI protection for your phone. Anything helps. If they can get my phone easier than yours, they'll take mine. That kind of thing. But yeah, that works. We do that at our department. If there's some kind of cyber crime or even drug dealing, and everyone uses their phone for everything, we put them in containers where they can't get to the cloud, because you can erase it from the cloud. Question? I don't have the answer to that. I don't want to speculate. We've had cases where people have gone in and taken out money, and then the bank says, "Why are we giving them the money? Like, why are we?" Because of the situation. But for the most part, I think you're correct. But I don't know. I don't know the banking industry, so I wouldn't have an answer for that. Is to do what we talked about, is just monitor everything. And, just monitor all your financials is what I would suggest. So that if something comes out and you don't lose it, if you can get it quicker, if you can reverse it. If it's a transfer, they can reverse it. Sometimes as far out as 48 hours, but mostly under 24, so. What is it? Oh, yeah, what she said is that the multi-factor, when you go onto your banking, they send you a code on your phone, and then you look at the code, and then you go on. That's very helpful, too. Yeah, that's just another step they have to go through. And like I've said, if they can, like she said, if they can download my phone, they're going to download my phone if they can't get to her phone easily. They're gonna pick the lowest fruit. So if you have those kind of checks and balances on your account, then that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a stupid question, but how do you know a website is genuine? Because I thought, oh, this is a good deal to get this lawn ornament or whatever, and then it's a fake website. Is there a clue to find out?
Just kind of what we talked about. You look at the language, you look at the layout, you look at the picture, you look at just kind of, be suspicious is what the way to look at it. They're good at what they do. When I went to the woman's house who bought the lamp, when she pulled up her, she said that when they pulled up her bank, and it looked identical to what she sees when she looks at the bank. They've got that information, and they've got screenshots of it and that kind of thing. So it's difficult. I don't really have an answer for you. It just, if there's one thing off, it's probably fraudulent, but it's hard to find.
Yeah, if it's something you've never gone on to before, you don't know if something's off.
Right. I was talking about language and using different instead of dollar amounts like USD, no one does that anymore. They put a dollar sign and, that kind of, just little hints like that will tell you. His question is, how good is LifeLock? All of those systems are good to an extent. These guys don't worry about those. They get you. They once they get you in a frenzy, it doesn't matter if you're in, if you have Brinks protection. They're motivating you. They're motivating you to give them your money, and in all essence, legally, you go into the bank and take your money out and give it to someone. You know what I mean? It's done in a fraudulent way, but so all of these safety items that you can use are good. I would never tell you not to use A, B, or C. But again, when you're on there and you click on something, you've opened the door, and then they say you've got to pay me this, and then you pay it, and that's where their money's at. But anything like that's good. Do I? My wife does. Yeah, yeah, we do. My mom, who's 84 and lives in Naples, Florida, uses checks. And she's smarter than all of us because they don't wash checks anymore. They don't steal mail. I mean, they do, but they don't as much. But yeah, I do. It's convenient and easy. I mean, at her age, she should be banking online so that she's not trouncing around Florida, but she's never bought into it, and she doesn't. So I won't say they're safe. I would say yes. At this time, they are safer. But then once they found out we're all using checks, then they'll start stealing checks and mail again. So it's it's reciprocal. It's like as many questions as you guys can ask. There's always but if they know we're doing that, then they'll do this. And so what it is it's about you guys talking to your neighbors and talking about things and being being proactive about it and having events like this where we talk to people, and hopefully everyone in here will go to a St. Patrick's Day party and say, hey, I saw the fraud guy. He said if we do this, and then they'll open up the communication lines and talk about it a little bit more, because they count on it. They count on you being embarrassed. And I guarantee you there's millions that have gone out of Saddlebrook and no one has said a thing. Someone has a little extra money, they lost $20K. That's nothing to them. They ain't going to tell anybody. Well, what then happens is their neighbor falls for the same thing, whereas if they said, did you hear about this? That kind of thing. Oh, wow. Are you working through that right now? Yeah, that's good.
Quick question. Emails. Okay, I'm getting 20, 30 emails every day. Most of them are supposed legitimate folks. I don't usually open an email unless I know who it's from or what it's from. But if I see that it says I can unsubscribe, I hit unsubscribe. But then a lot of times it does not unsubscribe. So my question is, if I don't know who the email's from, and these are all basically business type emails. Here's one from Marriott, and then who knows whatever. So I guess I'm asking, should I never hit unsubscribe, just delete the damn things and get them off, get them off, get them off, get them off?
That's what I do unless I recently started looking for a job in Florida because I'm going to retire to Florida down with my parents. And I have my email, which y'all saw, which is LarkinAZ, and that I got that 20 years ago. So when I got onto that, for 20 years, I haven't been looking for a job, and I don't know about the rest of you, but email is the only time I use email is when you're looking for a job. So I had a ton of those, and the ones I recognize, like if it's a Marriott or something, and I felt comfortable enough, places I knew that I had been, then yeah, I unsubscribed to them. But I could open my phone. There's a ton of them that I just erase.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the correspondence I'm getting from different jobs is going to my junk mail. But anytime you click on anything, you should be wary. Like I said, I trash them. I don't click on them unless it's something that I recognize.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead. Shouldn't they know your email if they sent you an email? And I'm not being, I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that you kind of think, well, they knew. People call me all the time and they say, well, we have a loan for you. Shouldn't I have put in for this loan? But what I do with those calls, honestly, if it's spam, I just hang up. And people tell you AI, it's AI, right? Not IA. AI. IA is a scary thing for us cops. That means you're in trouble. But I don't even answer the phone. What I'll do is I'll answer the phone and put it on speaker. And then, because I'm wasting their time. They're not. But it's stupid because it's a computer calling you anyway. But I won't answer them because I still think they're going to steal my silly, whiny voice. But they will. That's what they're doing. And then they'll call family members with your contacts, which they got from People Search. And it's just it's a terrible, you think about it like I do and like Ingrid does. It's like it's in your head. And you just think about every way, shape, and form that the people can try to take your money. And it's impossible for us to defeat it, except with, education and talking to people. Go ahead, sir. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Correct. Block report as spam, yeah. I do that on all the phone ones. I haven't been doing it on my email. I'll try that, though. Yeah, that's good advice. Did you all hear that? If you go to in your email, you report it as there's a drop down that you can report it. Just like if you get one on your phone, usually if you get a phone call or an email or a text, at the bottom it says report as spam. Delete and report as spam. And what he's saying is, I do it on my phone, but what he's saying is in your email there's a drop down that you can report them as spam, and then eventually you won't get them. So that's good advice. Go ahead, ma'am. Yes. Because if you then later on have a weak moment and click on something and they get into your computer, they can find that stuff and then make some purchases. Like 80 new purchases today from Chase. But yeah, it's interesting that anything that's convenient to us becomes a doorway for them, is what it comes down to. It's so much. I don't have to go to the bank. Yeah, well, they use that to their advantage. No, that was a question, and the question is about title theft. In here in Arizona, you have a car. Well, they don't, not anymore if you've sold a car recently, or a house. The house it's a title. It's a piece of paper. And so what's been happening, not necessarily here in Saddlebrook, but it could, is what they do is they go to a website and they sell your house. So you go to a website and they can be the couple I worked with were in Eloy, and a lot of time it's land. They're more interested in that because you don't have to. No one's going to come look at, they can drive by land and no one thinks twice of it. Predominantly, that's what they've been doing. But yeah, that's when that's what they like. So you have a tract of land or a house that you've paid off. You have the title. What they do is they go onto a website, realtor.com, and all these realtors in the area will bid for the sale, bid for that, for you as a client. You then contact that the winning realtor, and you don't really care who it is because you don't own anything. You then tell them, I'm out of state, but I want to sell this land, and it's an emergency, of course, and we need to sell it as soon as possible. So take a house in Saddlebrook, and we're going to sell it for $250. Everybody's going to bid on it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Everyone wants it. It's a good tract of land. They get a buyer. They say, well, we're not in the state. We're in Maryland. So all you have to do is have a fake ID, and you're handing it to a notary, and a notary doesn't know what a fake ID is. They usually don't know what it looks like, or it's very easily fooled. And then you just fake sign the name, and then that goes to the assessor's office. And then once that happens, it's very difficult to get that reversed, because in the eyes of the assessor, I know he lives here, in his office, that's a legal document until proven not. So then you have to get lawyers and then call us, get reports, and do a lot of research. The lawyers have to do a lot of research to reverse it. And it can be reversed. Usually it is, but The buyer is out whatever that amount is, the 250K, because they've wired that somewhere. And then once it's wired there, the case I had, the bank, I think it was about 210 was the price, 210,000. They got back about 150K, but the rest was taken out. And what they didn't want to do is, as soon as it went in, take it all out, because that would be suspicious. So they were taking out little bits and pieces of it. So by the time we figured it out, it was taken. It was 150 was gone by that point. The assessor's office has a program that they do where they email you and tell you if there's any changes. And then there's, and that's probably the best way to do it. And they had a program that did it here, and the line was around the corner. So I don't know if y'all call him and motivate him to do another one now that it's quieted down, then they'll probably do it. Or you can go to their office and do it. And you might even be able to do it online. But if you call the Pinal County Assessor's Office, they'll help you.
We just got our notice to pay our tax, our property tax. They had a little sheet in there saying, they're warning us about that somebody could get your title because our house is already paid off. But they said they're not gonna let you know. You have to keep on contacting them about it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. When I did these presentations with the bank manager here at BMO, he said banks can, if you own it outright, banks can give you a loan for $1 or something on your property, and then it has to go through the bank before, and they won't go after that house. So there's a way the bank can help you with that if you go to your bank, and what you're doing is putting a tiny mortgage on your house. So then there's that protection. And like you said, that's what they're not looking for that. They're looking for the easy route, not the hard one. Any more questions? Got one back here. Go ahead. I would say 6 of one, half a dozen of another. It's just like anything else. There's some risk to it. And there's, I do that all the time, but then I have a tendency to lose my debit card a lot, which is actually a good thing, because then you find out what you're paying for. Like these ads on TV that saying, we can find out what you're paying. I'm like, yeah, just take your debit card, cut it in half, and go get another one. And then they'll contact you and say, hey, you owe us money. But yeah, I think so. I don't see any issue with it until there's an issue with it. If it's on the computer, they might get access to it, but just the same. Go ahead. Some of them, but not others. Like Ingrid said, the bank one. We're going to send a code, and with my wife's condition, pretty much I get a code every time she goes onto an account, and she has to put the code in, and then half the time it goes to her, and she has to give me the code. So I would suggest that double protection, unless it's something that's there's no money involved. Like a fantasy football or baseball or something like that, I would, yeah. Anybody else? Go ahead, sir. Just that, not clicking on anything. So the question was, can people get into your computer remotely without you clicking on anything? I guess is kind of the short and yeah. And the answer is no. That you have to click on something and open up that avenue. Most of the stuff we see is they use AnyDesk and use some of these other programs, and then they get into the computer. The guys I watch on YouTube, they scam the scammers. They can't get into the computer. They can't get into the scammer computer until the scammer, as soon as any desk comes up, they all cheer because they're like, now we're in, because it opens both ways. So while they're taking their fake computer, they're going into their computer. And then they're sharing that information with local law enforcement at the end when they finally get to that. But yeah, you have to open up that portal. And it's not like they can't drive by your house and get in and that kind of thing like you see in the movies. It's not, I'm sure the government can do it, but we can't, and they can't. So we'll see. I don't think so. I think they're pretty protected, but I don't, like I said, if you hit unsubscribe and then you put in and then you go to the next page and then click, then that might do it, but I'm not sure. You'd have to ask a computer person that. Anybody else? Well, thank you all. If you guys want a card, I have them.